How was your first sit down with President Clinton?
Well, we really didn't sit down. It happened very quickly. President Clinton uh, chatted with me at the inauguration uh, ceremony for a few seconds. That's about it.
Yeah, I heard you tell a joke one time. You said, in the 2 years of me being the director of CIA, the plane that tried to fly into the Pentagon or White House, that was actually me trying to get a meeting with the president because
Yeah.
he wouldn't sit down with you.
Well, that's basically true. Bill Clinton is a speed reader, and so he didn't want to sit down every morning and have the director of Central Intelligence read sheets of paper to him. He could read a lot faster himself, and so he would just let the system operate. And he's a speed reader, so occasionally you wouldn't know what he was reading. But I remember one time he said, "Jim, have you read that new book on Africa by so and so? What did you think of it?" And I happily had read it, but he was reading a lot of books as president and talking to people about them. But it wasn't very formal, and he didn't want there to be any nod toward having a system of reviewing.
Is that a protocol? Like typically, the president's first meetings to get a briefing by the director of CIA every morning. Is that typically historically what's been the case, or no?
It's happened and has been the case several times, I think, but it's there's nothing required about it.
Got it.
Uh, the president designates the director as director, and the director gets briefed on this panoply of briefs, and then started meeting with the president the next day. But that changed in part with me.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. I mean, if you're a president, you would want to meet with the director of CIA to kind of see what's going on. If it's not once a day, maybe once a week to just kind of be briefed. Especially when you say in 2 years you never got a chance to meet with them.
But
Uh, were you reporting? Did it kind of like how you run a company and sometimes you put your org chart together and you say, "Look, I'm the CEO. I have the CFO, the COO, the CIO, the CTO, whatever, and I got 5 direct reports." Typically, the CEO doesn't want to have more than 5 reports. Sometimes it's 7, but let's just say 5's the magical number. Were you reporting to the chief of staff? Did he want you to go through another layer before you go through him? Who were you directly reporting to?
functionally, yes.
Okay.
Tony was chief of staff, and he liked it if the president would report to him, and that was kind of the way it worked out. It wasn't absolutely a rule, and when we would go in together, Tony and I, to um, say something to the president, it was okay with them as we walked out. If I stopped by the president's desk and said, "Mr. President, you want to pay particular attention to X and Y in the report today?" It was that sort of thing was fine.
Got it. So, day before you became the director of CIA versus the day after, the day you became a director of CIA, what were some of your responsibilities? How dramatically did your responsibilities change the day after becoming the director of CIA?
Well, I think the main change is the change from being just a reporter of intelligence to being in a situation where you can recommend and sometimes get approved covert actions. A covert action is an event that's put together in order to try to influence what the policy is rather than just report on it. And there's nothing sneaky about it from the point of view of the president not knowing about it. The president's fully briefed and he gets a signed recommendation from the director, and it all is proper and done. But it's an action item, and that sometimes those are successful and sometimes they're not. And Bill Clinton was very disturbed he said one time in a closed meeting that he had not gone into Rwanda and stopped the Hutus killing of other Rwandan tribes. It was really the Tutsis were massacred essentially during the Rwanda killing fields of late 93, 94. And that what I think President Clinton didn't want to have is that he did not want another event like the Black Hawk Down, where American troops got killed on the ground in Somalia. And so he was being very cautious, and he did not stop the Rwandan Hutus from killing the Tutsis. And he was very, as he thought about it over time, he decided that had been a big mistake. And he would often tell people, and this is one thing I rather admire about Clinton, he would tell people, okay, you need to know the biggest mistake I made as president. It was not going in and protecting the Tutsis. I should never have let them massacre the Hutus. And all presidents don't do things like that. They don't say right out in the National Security Council meeting, I made a big mistake and here's what it was. Because that was close to 1 million people that died as a result of that decision of his. And it's something that has come up in time, a number of circumstances. But it's an important issue, and it's something that he had the manhood and grace to deal with straightforwardly.
Was that during your time when 1 million people died during his watch? Was it when you were his director of CIA, or was it afterwards?
It was largely during about 94, and
Right.
I was director in 93 to 95.
Got it. Do you think it could have been prevented if he was communicating with you more often and getting updates, or it wouldn't have made a difference?
I don't think the decision about going in to protect the Tutsis or not would have changed based on who was director. He just didn't want to do that.
So if you like this little short clip from an interview I did, click over here to watch the entire interview. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.